Good morning and welcome back to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie and today is your vote count. So, first of all, hi to Deb and hi to Monica, and Ian's going to be popping up the first poll shortly. So, just wait for a few more people to join. Hi Mum! Okay, so the first poll that Ian's putting up is the colour poll. So as usual, you have bright, light, muted and dark to choose from. We're working onto this piece of 12 by 12 paper and it is from a paper designer pad. Okay, I will see if Ian can pop up a link as well for that one. And by your voting, I'm going to quickly update on a recommendation. So previously, for white gel pens, I would usually be recommending a Uniball Signo Broad white gel pen, and mine's just died, bless it. So you can see we've got the last little dregs of my poor Signo Broad just here, and we're updating to the Arteza white gel pens. So these fit in your 3D Fun Prints pen holders nicely. They don't work in the Brother ones, but I think by now I've converted most of you over to the 3D Fun Prints holder. If you haven't got one, be sure to enter the competition because you never know. So with the Arteza pens you have 3 different thicknesses. So we have the 0.6, 0.8 and the 1. And as you can see in our sample, they're all very bold and there's very little to see between the 3 thicknesses. So if you do end up running out of one, you're not going to notice too much if you have to go down or up a size. And I see Tracy's commenting as Plannercraft. So good morning Rachel, good morning Tracy.
Morning, Carol.
Morning Carol.
Just a heads up. I went from my design for tonight and skimming at the files were set to cut, not draw.
Oh dear. There's a very cheeky looking mister that's going, oops.
Sorry, Carol.
I'll smack his hands for him later. And good morning to Linda. Oh, come on. This is so even.
Yeah, so do let us know what your votes are. So your choice at the moment is colour, bright, light, muted and dark. If you can't see the vote on your screen, do let me know and I'll add it to the votes. It's currently one of each, so it's a very...
Oh. It could be all change. Okay, what else we got to mention? So tomorrow there isn't a stream, we're taking a day off, aren't we?
Yep. We have some prior arrangements that we've got to deal with.
Yeah. So there won't be a stream tomorrow. We will still be about though if you need us. I'm not sure about a whole pad, but probably a sheet of paper.
You have to see what comes for your prize, won't you?
Yeah, so lights is pastels and...
Morning, Sandra.
So the paper that I'm using, in case you're joining late, is from this pad here. So I believe it's available from Amazon, but I will get in to double check and pop up a link in a bit. Naughty Barbara.
So we still need some.
And again, for those that missed it, I've updated one of my recommendations for white gel pens to the Arteza gel pens. So they come in 3 widths and they fit into your 3D thumbprints holder. They don't work very well with the brother one, so just be aware of that. You sounding tired, are you?
Obviously concerned with the next president, you see. Can't be sleeping with things like that going on.
No.
I can't give up.
I must admit, it was the first thing I checked this morning, though. It does make a difference.
Yeah, we could have another 4 years of Donald Trump.
Exactly. And last check, it was pretty much neck and neck. I don't know where we are now, though.
They've got to wait for the postal votes, haven't they? So, could change everything. I mean, Trump says it's the worst thing that they did by making sure the postal votes are counted. It probably could be the best thing they ever did for him, because it might just swing it the right way for him. But there we go. Yeah, anyway. That's what we're going for. Muted.
Yeah. So we have 2 votes for bright, 1 for light.
Muted.
Oh, sorry, 2 for light, and 3 for muted, and 1 for dark.
It does take a bit of force. If you give it a bit of a pull, it will come out, Carol.
I find with mine, I give it a little twist sometimes, that helps.
It's because of where the
with the rubber
rubber is on it, it gets stuck, so it just needs a bit of brute force. It does come out, you just have to be a bit forceful with it.
Yeah, not too
So which one do you want next?
Okay, so next, let's go for media.
Okay.
So your options here are stencils, dies, or stamps. So I've already cut a few little guides for me to kind of figure out my layout with. Mainly because I didn't really want to put photos on stream. So I thought, well, I'll be prepared and I'll map out a few different sizes of photos that we can play with. So I have everything from little inches right up to a normal 6x4 and a few points in between. So if we think back to when we were talking about the layout and we were saying about rule of thirds, so we could pop our 6x4 on any place where those thirds intersect if we wanted to. We could do it so it just sits on one of the lines, or we might go actually, oh excuse me, let's go down a size and we can decide if we want to go horizontal or vertical. Cropping is everything. So I don't really want to interfere too much with this word here. So one option is to take it away from that entirely, but then you might lose the focus. So don't be afraid to play with your layout a little bit before you even get started. Oh, cool, blimey, we're evenly split again.
Yeah. Use all 3.
We can choose 2 that have a same dimension and go rectangle and square in this instance, or we might do that up here. We can totally ignore all of thirds if we wanted to and just bring those down so that we have our songs up here and in there. Or we might go, actually let's do it like a little grid just there, or down here. Or we can even do a little strip across there. which I think I might go for actually. I quite like that layout and having the idea of having a border that goes across this way, because then we're mirroring the background of our paper.
No.
Oh boy, 2, 2 and 2.
Done it. I think it's brute force worked. There you go.
Oh, come on, somebody vote. There's 14 people watching, so...
Only 6 people have voted so far. If you can't see the vote, just drop it into the comments and we will add it to the votes. So we are on which media we're using, so whether we're using stencils, dies or stamps. If you can't see it, you just drop stencil, dies or stamps into the comments and then we'll add that to the list.
Oh boy, there's some very indecisive people out there. Monica says dies. Okay. So Ian's put that into the vote for you.
Thanks for voting. Dies and stamps. They're level at the moment.
Oh, dies. Just went into the lead.
Do we stop it while it's got a leader?
Yes. Well, there's a definite leader, because otherwise I know what it'd be like. We'll go, oh, neither. No, it's all changed again.
So we have dies, sweetie.
Okay, dies, and I'm going to go for a border design.
Muted colours.
And let's move my tidy tray for a minute. So I have some that are already cut. So, Ken, do you want to pop up a link for these in a bit? Or?
For what? For
The
you?
dies.
You died.
So the 2 die sets are Pretty Picasso and Pretty Elemental from Pretty Gets Gritty. And I have a few that I've cut out of black, some out of white and some out of some craft card. So Muted won the first round, didn't it?
It did.
Okay, so I have some keys. I have things like eyes and mouths if I want to do a face. There's light bulbs.
Hinges.
Yeah, hinges if you want to do hinges instead. I mean, that would look quite good, kind of there. And then pop that one up there. See, look, you're always changing.
Are we putting up our effect one next?
Yes.
Okay, so the next one we're doing is what effect you'd like. So we've got some texture paste, some crackle paste, or some gloss paste, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have feathers as well. And we have locks. And we have hearts that we can play with. If you do have any questions about the dies, pop them in the comments and I will go over them for you. Lots of light bulbs. I'm going to pull out some of the feathers, I think, in the heart. keys. I'll do as a start anyway. So let's go there. I think I'm going to pop that further down there with this hinge because that would look quite cool. So with our other bits and pieces we can always start to layer those up, but obviously because these are standing photographs you want to go careful with where you're adhering things just so that you can let it slot in. We're getting political in the chat, aren't we?
No, not really.
No. Okay. So I'm going to kind of build a cluster up here, I think. Just because it's going to be easier to do it there than anywhere else on the page. Heart there with a little crafter in the middle. So bear in mind what we use for our substrate for our die cuts is going to affect how the media then looks on the page. So if it's on white it's going to look really bright and clear, whereas if it's on the craft it's going to get more muted, and then if it's on the black you may just get a hint of a colour and a whole lot of sparkle.
Glossy.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
There you go, glossy.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring in a white feather just there, and another one just here so that we've got our little cluster kind of going down from underneath our S. So. Oh, and let's go for...
Should we close that when we have a clear winner?
Do we?
Yeah, at the moment.
Okay, so we're going glossy.
So, results at the moment are glossy.
So one of the things I'm also thinking is I also need to have some way of reinforcing this border. Can you just take a picture for me please, Ian? So if you think you're going to forget how you had something roughly laid out, you can always take a picture, and that way you can have something to refer back to. Thank you. Okay. So just because I want to work a bit on this border first, I'm going to bring in...
Do you want your style done as well? Or not yet? Do you need style?
Yeah, go for style next.
Okay, so we're going for the style next, so we want to know either pretty, grungy or shabby chic. What's your options?
Oh, could have done with that a little bit longer. Just a tad. So this is where I'm going to use the guides on my cutting mat to help me make sure I get this level. A little lower than that actually. Let's go for the spree. Like so. So bear in mind, because we've got this 1/2 inch here, this is actually 2.5. So then that will be 3, 3.5, 4. Just here is your line of your third. So we're going to go up above that again. And maybe a little bit more. Yep, I'm going to go with that. Okay. Grungy it is.
You happy with that?
So I'm going to grab some Dusty Concord, some walnut stain, and aged mahogany. And I'm going to grab a nice big blending brush, the bigger the better. As we're doing a nice large area. And I'm going to start off with the walnut stain. And you're going to work from the outside in. This end. So at this point, don't go too mad because the colours look darker than what you think they do. It's very misleading when you've done some masking. So this area just here is where we're going to have our big photograph, so it's a good place to test out colours and just check that they're what you're aiming for. So that's our aged mahogany. And next, I'm just going to go down here just to check that I have enough colour coming out. There we go. So our Dusty Concord is going to be our darkest colour. And again, just going to blend over those ends, because that's where most of your colour will be anyway. So I'm going to keep my mask in place. And I'm going to quickly grab a stamp at this point. And I'm going for Puddle Up, which is a splatter stamp. And this is where I'm going to hope I can find my little pot. Because he's done a good job of running away. Thank you. Okay. white squid ink to start with. So this won't come out white when you stamp it. It's going to be kind of a bit softer than that. If you want it to be true popper white, you can go over the top with some white embossing powder and do it that way. So again, if you want to test this out, you can go just here behind our photo. I'm going to actually bring it over just a tad and stamp it there. So as you can see, it's really subtle. And do it again. Move it along and stamp it again. Okay, so we've done our 2 sets of stamping here. So if we bring it in our stand-in photo cards, we can just see how that layout is starting to build up. I think I'm going to go spot that there. So let's peel off our masking, and as you can see now, when you peel it off, you can see that there is a defined line. Like so. So next I want to sort of start to bring in a bit of that gloss. So let's go for this has become my most used stencil, isn't it, that I'm about to use. So this is called Pretty Acoustic, and it does lots of dots. And let's get some gel medium. And I'm also going to get thank you. Yes, please. Not use that one yet. So for the purpose of today, I will use a heat gun to help this set a bit quicker, but it is better if you leave it overnight. So I'm just going to pick a bit up on my palette knife. Okay. And get it level. I think get it level. Okay. And I'm going to start over here. Go across as well. It's a good way of making sure that you get a nice flat surface. So to get a shine on anything, you want it to be as smooth as possible. Can't believe you're going and looking it up. So, I'm going to very gently peel this off. Like so. So, Ian, could I ask you to just give that a quick rinse and pop back in a minute? So I'm going to give that a quick blast with a dryer before we try and do any more stenciling. Otherwise we're going to just end up smudging, and that's not what we want to do. Now if you are using a heat gun, what you do need to go careful with is bubbling. So try and keep the heat moving across your page. And now if you're working on paper, don't forget to also go across the back as well. So the gel medium will dry totally clear, so you'll be able to see when it's set. I'll give that a quick dry.
I did give it a quick wipe on the trousers. So.
It's all gone very quiet out there.
It has, hasn't it?
So, what I'll do is if I hold it up, then hopefully you can see. It's still kind of ghosting, but you should be able to see roughly where we are. Okay. So next I'm going to work on the die cut section. So first of all I'm going to build everything sort of around this little hinge here. So if I line this up on my cutting mat, so I've got my 0 lining up the top of the paper. So that means that we can then see straight away that our rule of third is right smack on there. So that's where our hinge is going to go.
back in your pot.
Is it? Oh, you tucked it behind there. That's why I can't see. Thank you. So again, just a few dots as we're going to build layers up over the top. There we go, like so. Okay. So we have our heart icon. Sticking above. So something like the S here, we could always bring out a little bit more with some inks if we need to. But for now, I'm just going to concentrate on sticking these down.
Which was everything.
So I'm going to do that one, so I'm drawing up to there, so even though it's going to put my feather on a slight angle, that won't hurt. And before I go too far, I just want to ink up this feather a little bit. So if I bring in my messy mat and my inks, and for this one I'm going to go straight into the Dusty Concord. Okay, and I'm going to add in a little aged mahogany towards the bottom. And some walnut stain to the top section here. Like so. So there's one. And I'm going to do similar to our craft card, but this time I'm going to go for walnut stain. There and here, and a tiny bit of purple. So the items that I haven't painted yet, I will be painting. So that we kind of keep the colours going through rather than having this kind of jarring black, white and craft vibe going on. I'm going to go, just tuck that under that one there, like so. And again, push it up underneath that feather there. And down again for that last one. we then have this little lock that we're going to pop over here. So again, I want to look at how the colours are flowing, and I think with this one I'm going to do a little bit of painting. So this is why I have my messy cutting mat. They are really pretty dies and fab to work with. Let's grab a little paintbrush. So what I'm using at the moment is, it's called Pretty Get Up There, and it's like a cross between a texture paste and a paint. So it has like a glossy finish when it dries, but it's also got an awful lot of shimmer in it. I'm just thinking, why is it so dark? And it's like, I've got to turn on my light.
You haven't got the top light on.
No.
Do you want it? Do you want it to close the door?
Yes please.
Oh.
So as it's a texture paste, it's going to remember the texture of your brush strokes. So this isn't the sort of thing which you'd want to use if you wanted a smooth finish. So I'm being very much dab 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 dab. But it does go well with the dusty concord. Okay, this is where I'm going to get mucky fingers, but
What's new there?
yeah. Spent most of the weekend with mucky fingers doing samples, didn't I? So nothing wrong with mucky fingers. Okay.
So on a side note of Matty having mucky fingers, she's been preparing samples for Pretty Get Gritty, who are on Chanda on Monday.
The 9th, isn't
9th,
it?
which is Monday.
So yeah.
And they're on at 9 and 1 o'clock if you're interested. That is well worth a watch. There's some funky stuff coming up.
Okay, so while I'm there, I'm also going to put a little bit on our key as well. So you'll see it's going to come out totally differently when it comes to doing some on black, which is why I say it's so important. And you'll see me keep on about this in my blog post when it comes out. It's so important about the cardstock that you choose for your die cuts, as it really does alter the colour. So, blog post is due out
Friday.
There you go, Friday. And that's an art journal one, so if you want to have a go at making your own art journal, well, idea journal as I put it. Good old SEO, you can't use the same type twice. There we go. So if I put the two side by side, you can see just how much of a difference there is between the white and the black. So same paint, same application, totally different colour. And I'm going to give those a quick waft with the dryer just to help it out a bit. So I'm going to do this on a low heat this time. Going back to this one, bring it back in. We have our shiny lock that we can put there, and then our key and go over the top like so. And you wouldn't think that it was the same paint, would you? And go. So let's go for my look. Now, because we've applied this onto card, you may need to hold it a little bit longer, just to help it set, so it's no longer quite as flat as it would be. So if you look at our key, it's curled up slightly. So the white was cut from construction card, was it, in the end, Ian? Can you remember?
It's quite thick, so yeah, probably. It's from our 350.
So, if you'd like the link for the different cardstocks, let us know, and I will get Ian to put those up. So I'm just doing a little bit of glue on that one, and again, it's going to be a case of place it and hold it, so let's go for that just there. And then I can doodle on a little bit of thread just to hold that on, rather than having to worry about dealing with little bits of cord. Okay, so the other way I want to show you that we can use our pretty out there is with a palette knife. So if I pick up one that's a little bit wider, so you can stencil with this if you want to, or we can actually go and actually tack it direct to our die cut. So you want to keep your palette knife fairly flat. Not there, not there. And you can get a different look again when you're applying it with a palette knife to a brush. So as usual, the thicker you apply something, the more time you're going to need to give it to dry. So I certainly won't be rushing to put this into a sleeve protector or anything like that. I'm going to make sure it's well and truly dry before you get to that point. Go. Let's go a little bit around these edges. Now, if you do miss anywhere, you have a couple of options. You can always go back and just paint it in, or you can use some ink blending over the top. So now I'm just lightly tapping it just so that we can get a few little areas of texture, as well as filling in the white areas, like so.
Paper pack was Paper and Designs by Eno Greeting. By the looks of it, it's called Retro Style.
Okay, so I'm just going to lift out.
It's a creative scrapbooking one.
Yeah, I think it's on Amazon, Ian, if you want to look it up.
Okay, I'll have a quick look for you then and see if I can find you a link for it.
Okay, so I'm just using a stiff paintbrush just to tidy up around the edges, like so that we're not losing shapes too much. And again, I'll give that a quick. So while that's finishing up, I'm going to go back to my gel medium. So we said glossy. So let's add some gloss. Now bear in mind that your distress inks are water reactive. So if we are going over the top with gel medium, you will get a little bit of transfer and a little bit of smudging. So when blended like this though, you won't really notice it. But if you're going over a stamped image, it will blur it a little, which may be a look that you're going for. But if you want to keep it nice and crisp, then you will not want to do this.
Don't need it anymore.
Oh, you can't find it. It was on my shop at one point, but I'm going to do a little bit on my key as well. So by doing this over the top, we're going to make our key look more like it's enamelled. So use a nice round brush, that means that you can have a nice fine point to work with. I'm just tracing around the shape. And maybe I'm going to pop a little bit on this craft foam that we've stuck down here. Like so. And a bit more on this one down here too. Speaking of our Amazon store, I did go through and update it yesterday. So there are a few new things on that we found that you may like. Okay, and finally a bit on our hinge as well. So we're going to have that look a bit more shiny. So you don't have to do it all over the shape. If you want to, you can just pick out key areas, make it look a little bit more worn. Just on that end piece there. Okay. Any questions, Ian? I'm
No,
here
not
waffling
there.
away.
You keep waffling, sweet cheeks.
Okay. So you can use this gloss medium now as a resist if you want to. So if you're finding it's being a little bit subtle, you can always work back into it so that you start to see it a little more. So I think what I'm going to do is just use what's on my brush and just go over a little. You see it's starting to just pick up a few little areas like so.
I don't know how they do it anymore, so
Okay, I think I'm happy with that.
I wonder if I knew if they're still going. But no comments at the moment, so you're right.
No comments. Okay. So we've done the kind of shabby sheet for now until this bit's dry. We have our photos that we're going to be putting like so. So let's put those back in situ in case we want to add things like journaling. So it would look quite nice to put some journaling just there. Ooh, let's go for a journaling stamp. Oh, that one's nice. Yeah, pretty sure that's not what you searched for. No, I did positive vibes last time, so I think I'm going to go with this one. If I head into a lighter area, then you know our sentiment's going to stand out just a little bit more.
And apologies, Linda, it doesn't seem they do it anymore. And you go to the website and it comes up with your access forbidden. So I might have to do a bit more digging for that one, see if we can find it somewhere else, but at the moment it's...
we will carry on and have a look for you, won't we?
yeah.
So,
Know what they've done with it.
squid ink.
Mum says looking gorgeous.
Cool. And I'm thinking it would be nice to pick up just a couple of these dots with some darker colour. So let's go for Mucky Fingers. So this is where I will have to go and do a quick hand wash when I'm done, because if you leave this on it's going to set on your finger, which is no fun. So again, I'm going to start where we know our photo's going to be, just so that I can get my finger to a state where it's workable.
Tell people what you're actually using.
It is the Pretty Patina Creme in Black Pearl. So I just want to have just a little touch on my finger, so I can just pick out a few areas, and I'm going quite sort of start with, but you can actually go really full on and heavy handed with it if you want to. And after sort of 30 minutes it's actually set and water resistant, so it's not going to smudge. So just down here.
Gives that nice rustic effect, doesn't it?
Yeah. And the more texture you have, the better it is. So I still want to bring out some of these dots, but I'm going to go really gently, so I'm barely touching. And if you want full on black dots, there's a really good slate paste that we're going to show you sort of probably Friday. So you may see that we do a couple of mixed media streams over the next few days. So not tomorrow because we're not here, but Let me. So
Right,
because this is still going to be a little bit wet, I am only gently tapping this. So I don't want to lose too much of the texture. So the heat gun will help, but it's still going to be fairly. And around here too. But your finger is your best friend when it comes to things like this. You can't beat the tools that you were given. Just pop a little bit on there. We did say grungy, didn't we? So
Yep.
grungy this. So a little bit more, just. So
Looks like it's pretty seal thing.
yeah. So it does come with this little seal, so just pop that back on top and reattach the lid. Just stop it drying out. Okay.
Easy to wash it down quick.
I will go wash down. And do you want to pop those back on for me?
No, I was going to say about competition.
Oh, go on then.
So while Natalie's just washing her hands quickly, I was just going to remind you not to forget that we have our competition for lockdown, and we have decided that it is going to be, we want you to sign a Christmas card, and we have 3 options. So we have minimalist, so using as little as possible to create your card. We have eco-friendly, so that's the one that is the most eco-friendly. So we want things like biodegradable glitter, recycled paper, using scraps, cereal boxes to make your card out of, anything like that, something different, but eco-friendly. And what's the last one that I always get wrong?
Minimalist? I
No.
didn't hear which ones you've done.
The
Innovative.
innovative. There we go. So we want something completely different, something that we've not seen before, something new, and see how you go. So we have the usual album is up, ready for people to go. If you are doing eco-friendly or minimalist, please do comment and say what you've used or what you've not used or how you've done it, so we can keep a track, so we know how well people have done. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be closing when we come out of lockdown, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or when we're scheduled to come out of lockdown, shall we say? So
That's
around
the better way of putting it. When we're currently scheduled to be out of lockdown, which is the 2nd of December.
Yeah, so 2nd of December. So you've got just over a month.
We'll hedge our bets.
Hedging our bets. Also, don't forget we have 2 fonts now that Natalie has created, which are available on Buy Me a Coffee. So one called Child's Play, and one called Scripty. So they're both available on Buy Me a Coffee, and there are links out on the group and the page. So do have a look, because there are some lovely samples there done by Deb that are up for the fonts. So if you do want to have a look at those, then please do.
Okay, so I'm just popping on a few die cuts. I am going careful with where I'm applying the glue so that I don't accidentally glue my little placeholder cards to the background, because obviously we still want to put in a proper photo. And I'm just using what feathers I already have cut. And as you can see, no more mucky fingers, so it does clean up really nice and easily. Because no doubt somebody will want to know or ask. So, there you go, no more mucky fingers. Okay, in the right place before I stick this one down. And then I can get it all set and I'll pop the photos in after.
Cool.
Okay.
We had a key on the floor. Don't think it was part of your design.
I was going to say it's not on there, so I may just quickly do a little bit of ink painting to pop it on there. Look quite good, just kind of down there. A little guide for those photos to sit into. So before I do that, again, just to make it all blend in, I'm just going to bring some of that purple back into that. So first of all, I'll use what's on the mat anyway to save wasting ink. There we go. And add a little bit more of the purple. Okay. Get that in. Bring that back in.
You finished with the film?
Yep, finish refilling. I'm going to line that up just underneath there and we'll call it a day at that. So I will pop a photograph with the photos in place in the group. And a bit more glue and then we'll fill you back up again. Promise. Underneath there. Like so. Let's move that out of the way and then you can have a nice clear shot of the finish layout. Okay, so for today we'll call it a day until watercolour later on. So there won't be a 2 o'clock stream to the group today, just because this one always takes a little longer than planned anyway, doesn't it? And
Yep.
we've got to get ready for watercolour classes. So, any tips for filling the little bottles? Sometimes get more glue out of the bottle than in it. Height is the trick.
Yes.
The higher you are, the easier it is.
Yeah.
So-
Once you get the glue started, take it
Yeah.
a little bit higher away from the pot, and it'll.
Yeah, hold it up above and then as it comes down it'll naturally get in that little bit narrower. So the steadier your hand is as well, the better. So that's usually a job that you get, isn't it, Ian? You get all the best jobs.
Yeah.
I may just put a little bit more pattern on there, but I'm trying to be good.
Be good. Don't play.
Don't mess.
we're done.
Yep, we're done. We're done.
So, thank you all very much. Stay safe. And we will see our watercolour class at 4 o'clock.
If you want to join in with the watercolour, let us know. Preferably before about 2, isn't it? So we've got time to get you in, and you've got time to get your base file sorted, so that you can join in. So take care, and we'll see you Friday. So bye for now.